Gabimaru, known as the strongest ninja in the whole world given the name Hollow. Gabimaru's team walked straight into Ran, one of the Tensen, and he is an absolute nightmare matchup. His water towel directly suppresses Gabimaru, meaning no matter how hard he pushes, he's constantly being shut down. Now, although he defeats him multiple times and outpowers the Tensen, nothing is enough to stop regeneration. So for the first time since learning this new power, Gabimaru has no winning path. Thus, he makes a decision that should kill him. With no other options left, Gabimaru uses the leftover Mudan stingers, forcing his body to the brink of collapse in an attempt to unlock Flower Tao. This is a gamble. Flower Tao is the same power used by the Tensen to achieve immortality, but humans aren't meant to wield it. Gabimaru almost goes insane but actually holds onto his sanity. Somehow, it all succeeds because his humanity returns by remembering the love of his life. Gabimaru then awakens more power that crosses beyond human limits. With Flower Tao, his body can now regenerate from otherwise fatal injuries, allowing him to fight through damage that would kill anyone else. Using this power, he overwhelms Ran. And Ran, he's an idiot. Remember what I said earlier? They fight like immortal beings and they can't comprehend self-sacrifice. He expects his opponent to hesitate, but Gabimaru has already accepted death. This allows him to push forward by saving Yuzuriha's life to her astonishment. All this time, he's been drilled to think logically, but he made an emotional decision and saved his friend? So Gabimaru says he's willing to stake everything into this fight to achieve his dream, saving Yuzuriha half to victory thanks to her Earth Tao. So in a stroke of genius, Gabimaru realizes that Tensen still react to sensory stimuli the same way that humans do. He figures out that rapid flashes of light actually overstimulate the brain, causing a surge of dopamine that disrupts judgment and timing. It's a stalling tactic because Gabimaru understands that in their Kishikai transformation, it actually consumes massive amounts of Tao, meaning it can't be sustained forever. So once their reserves are drained and the transformation ends, they actually become vulnerable. As a result, the team brings down a god, something no human has done before. Guess what? There's no time to celebrate. Although all the others also defeat their Tensen opponents by awakening their latent abilities, back in Japan, the Shogun grows impatient. Obsessed with immortality, he orders a second expedition almost immediately, this time stacked with all the elite forces. The expedition includes Iwagakure shinobi, led by Shija, Gabimaru's obsessive pursuer, and Shogun, the strongest Yamada Asamon executioner in history. As long as Gabimaru is alive, the myth is dead. That means the village loses its greatest weapon. So they send everything they have to erase this dude once and for all. As for Shogun, he believes justice must be absolute. Criminals are to be erased and hesitation only breeds chaos, because to him, order must be maintained even if it means sacrificing humanity itself. He doesn't think any criminal can be redeemed. However, as Gabimaru leaves to help the others, he's confronted by ninja and even children. These kids were raised with stories about him, believing that becoming strong means becoming like Gabimaru. That's why even the youngest shinobi are disturbingly inhuman. They don't fear death. In fact, they crave the chance to fight our MC, and even dying at his hands is considered honorable. Now that level of brainwashing shows how deeply the village erased humanity, which makes Gabimaru's rebellion even more significant. After destroying them in an instant, Gabimaru activates his Tao senses. He immediately realizes that something's clearly wrong. Shija is already by the ship, stealing the elixir of life directly from Rian. Sagari is safe, but Fuchi got taken out by Shogun. Why? Well, Shogun, he's basically batshit crazy. Fuchi's death hit different because Shogun, he basically kills him due to being an extremist, believing that no one can change. Criminals are irredeemable and must be erased to preserve order. But Fuchi was driven by the desire to understand life. His partnership with Gantetsusai showed that even someone branded a criminal could form real bonds and act selflessly. Remember that they both killed a Tensen together, with the Chad going all in to save Fuchi, doing everything he can to let his new friend survive. After all, Fuchi was the first person to look at Gantetsusai without fear, studying him with curiosity instead of judging him like a criminal. So over time, with their bond connecting, Fuchi risked his life to save Gantetsusai from poison and later chooses to support him despite knowing he's a violent criminal. Now with his sacrifice, Fuchi proves that morality isn't defined by the law that Shogun follows, because the so-called criminal understood humanity better than the executioner who killed him. That means Gabimaru can one day be redeemed and people like Shogun are wrong. However, with time running out, our MC pushes deeper into the palace, determined to take the elixir back before everything collapses. And that's when the situation gets worse. Zhu Jin reappears, and this time fusing with the Banko and becoming this big unstable flower kaiju that is out to kill everyone on the island. The threat level jumps instantly because Banko is just not another Tensen. It is essentially their ultimate biological weapon, created to protect the Tensen's immortality by connecting to life force. It possesses 5 tanden that represents the 5 elements. Each core feeds the other, meaning if even one remains active, the body regenerates completely. So this thing is so strong that for the first time, Gabimaru cannot solve the problem alone. The team regroups and Aza Chobe is fighting on their side. 2 of Shugen's allies join in as well, not out of loyalty, but out of necessity. So to kill the Banko for good, all the 5 tanden must be destroyed at the same time. So the group splits up, with Sagari's wood strengthening Gabimaru's fire. They move together for the metal tanden, but they don't make it far thanks to someone more frustrating than the Tensen themselves. Shija intercepts them, forcing Gabimaru into the fight he's been avoiding since the beginning of his life. That's because Shija is everything wrong with Iwagakure and has a life without real meaning. Ever since Gabimaru spared their life in a duel when they were a child, Shija became so obsessed with Gabimaru that they burnt their face so they would have a scar like his wife Yui. Now most of all, Shija loves death, because Iwagakure had numbed their senses and stripped away their humanity. Brushing against death became the only thing that felt real to Shija, the closest thing they had ever known to love. So whether it was being killed by Gabimaru or taking his title, Shija devoted themselves to him. Shija is basically what Gabimaru the Hollow was meant to be, and he can clearly see what he would have become if Yui, his wife, wasn't in his life. He's looking directly into a mirror. If Sagari and everyone else did not see Gabimaru for who he really was, which is a human, he would be just like this messed up person. So their fight was so utterly brutal that Shija brings Gabimaru to the point of death on purpose, all to make Gabimaru into a monster out of his flower tower. On top of that, Shija gaslights Gabimaru into thinking that Yui is like everyone else in Iwagakure, a woman who just role-played a marriage, a woman without any pure emotions at all. But they actually messed up, because that was all Gabimaru needed to restore his humanity and get back up to fight. Because what this guy just confirmed is that 100% his wife is real. So now Gabimaru has every reason to give it his all and cook his enemy. Shija tries to stab Gabimaru in the heart, but he's totally unfazed and uses blaze full fire to burn both of them into crispy fried chicken. However, as a final act of selfless love. Shija makes a whistle out of their hair to command all Iwagakure shinobi to off themselves so that they do not get in Gabimaru's way. Furthermore, Shija confirms that Yui is indeed real and alive, and asks if he and Gabi would fight together again in the next life. Shija basically dies happy, and it was only possible because Gabimaru became a human being, winning over the hollow identity that defined both of them. And finally, everyone reaches their assigned pendant of Banko, striking at once. And for a moment, it looks like they've won. Even still, Banko rises again, driven by its Tau photosynthesis. But before all their hard work is undone, Aza Chobe destroys the roots of the giant plant, ending the last of the Tensen, leaving only one enemy behind. Now, to enjoy more peak fiction, watch this video on your screen right now.